Hello, welcome to another show. I'm Sid, and this is a brand new YouTube channel that I've just created because I've recently gotten interested in creating filters for apps like Instagram and Facebook. I'm going to be using Spark AR Studio today, which is the software created by Facebook specifically for creating these filters and effects. It's available on their website, which is linked up here, and I will also leave a link in the description for that. We won't be using them today, but I would also recommend downloading the Spark AR Face Reference Asset Pack, which gives you some textures and object files and face meshes and things like that, which will come in handy later on if this turns out to be something that you're also interested in. There is a little bit of photo editing and it's like similar to the style that you might have seen when people use Photoshop. I myself use GIMP, which is open source and free, because Photoshop is expensive, but both of them and any others that you might use will probably work just fine, as long as they allow PNG files to be exported. That's about it. So yeah, Spark AR, face reference assets, which we're not using, and GIMP, which we're not using today. So let's get straight to it. Once you've downloaded the Spark AR program, you should have this icon appear here, and click that to open up a new blank project. Okay, so the first thing you'll see is we have this guy here who's a stand-in for ourselves. There are a couple different versions. You can simulate people in different sizes, shapes, skin tones, all kinds of things. But for now, we'll just go with me. If I load in, hi, I'm Sid. Welcome. Let's get straight to it. I don't like being on camera. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go to our layers property, which is up here next to scene, and we're going to add a second layer. And we're going to rename this first one foreground, and this new one background. And we'll come back over to our scene. And now we're going to go into add object and scroll down until we get to rectangle. Could just click canvas, but it's faster to click rectangle because it just adds a rectangle inside of a canvas. Sorry, there's a fly buzzing around. Yeah, and so once we have the rectangle, you can see it just square in the center of my face right now. We can duplicate that, get ourselves a second one, rename this one foreground, and this one background. Okay, and on the background one over here on our layers property on the right, we can adjust that and change it to background. So now that one's the background and that one's the foreground. Now if you control highlight both of those, you can come over and adjust the properties. So we'll change the size of both of them at the same time. The width and the height will change to fill, which completely covers my face with this checkerboard pattern, which is useless right now, but will come in handy at some point, I swear. Alright, so now we want to click on foreground and enable, nope, sorry, my mistake. We'll come over here to camera and we'll click on texture extraction and segmentation over here on the right. So camera and then texture extraction and segmentation, which will add these two textures over here under our assets panel. Now we'll go to foreground, which is here, and add a material, which will create this new material layer, which at the moment is grey and boring and, you know, whatever. So we'll click on that and we can rename that foreground as well, just for simplicity's sake. And we'll come over here to the right and look at all of this. There's a lot of stuff we can do, but we're keeping it simple. This is going to be a green screen effect. So we want a completely flat, neutral material, which is not affected by any light that might be coming from the background or reflecting off of our user. This is a completely flat white material. And then in our textures, we're going to add camera texture, which will completely turn it into us. And then we're going to come down here and choose this alpha setting, which also has texture, and we're going to choose person segmentation mask for our alpha texture. And as you can see, that cuts me out from the background quite nicely. There's a little bit of where I have quite big hair, I could pull the hood up. Even still, there's some sort of blurring around the edges, but as you can see, it's pretty cool. So if you want to adjust that, I can make it larger so we can see. If you want to adjust that because of the blur, which you can see all over me, then we'll come down here to person segmentation mask, and the mask size is something that you can adjust. Right now it's the default 1.8, but we can adjust that to somewhere around 2.4, maybe even 2.45. And as you can see, it's a little bit clearer now, and it's still very soft, so I'll maybe bring that down slightly. Nice. So what we've got here is a perfect segmentation mask, which separates me out from the background, but allows me to have both of them at the same time if I want, if that makes sense. Right, so now we'll come over to background layer. I'll show you what I mean. And we'll add a new material, which we'll call background. Sort of, we'll almost call it background. And we can come over here, we'll make this a flat layer as well. Ba-bam! And then if we want, we could set the opacity all the way down, and it's just me normal, completely cut out from the background. But if we go all the way up to 100 with the opacity, it's this grey beige thing again. But now is where the magic happens. We come over here, and this is my favorite color, my favorite shade of green. So we use this one. Ba-bam! And there you have a green screen effect. Perfect, lovely, simple. If you want, you can obviously change the color to anything you like. Go with the blue one, and you can adjust the opacity. So you can bring that down and have like sort of a kind of translucent blue background wherever you are, which is nice, and it completely masks me out. Hands are a little bit tricky, obviously, but because it's quite shadowed focus, there's not much. It's you know, it's supposed to sort of capture the close-up of a face, but yeah, for the most part it works pretty well, and it's a very simple effect that you could try yourself. Green is obviously my favorite, so we'll go back to the green, and I like 100%. Just keep it fully green screen. First video, maybe you'll make a meme out of me, but yeah, so this is pretty much the end of the tutorial. You can test it on a device by sending it to an app. So if you've got this program, then you can connect it to your Instagram or Facebook, where you're going to be uploading these apps, and you can have test links sent to your mobile to play around with it yourself before you decide whether or not you want to upload it. But anyway, thank you for watching this first video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. I'm sorry it was so long and so long-winded and like generally all over the place. It's the first time I've ever made a video. Sounds probably horrible, but again, thanks for watching. Bye.